So anyways, I know what you're thinking. I mean, you were aiming for one of the 5-star hot chicks and you like bummed out because you got the circus bear. Well, actually, he's like half man, half beast, and he's actually pretty sweet because he's really tanky and he does a lot of damage. So Lokido, he has a lot of earth attacks, which are really good actually against water enemies, and then even enemies that are not weak. I mean, they're just like, they have no resistance or anything to earth. This AoE earth attack does a lot of damage to them anyway, so he's a really good hero. I know he's not one of the hot chicks, but he's a really strong hero. All of his attacks are blunt attacks, and they're really good. A lot of times he's the last guy standing in my party, and he makes the difference between beating a boss and not beating a boss a lot of times. And he also has a stun that I like to use called Metal Smasher. So it lowers blunt resistance and then inflicts a stun, which is really good because that also makes his earth attacks stronger as well because they're all blunt attacks. And then plus you have a chance to stun a boss. Some bosses are resistant to stuns, but a lot of them are not. So it really does come in handy when you are fighting bosses. And then everything else is really good as well. It just depends on your playstyle or depending on if the enemy is resistant to earth attacks. You can just switch to straight up blunt attacks and he should do just fine. And then his stats overall, they're really high. For a hero, everything is, really high. And I just really love this guy because he just does a lot of damage and really tanky once again. And then for his ability board, I just went straight to 5 stars. So I just took a straight path. Originally, I just took a straight path. There. I skipped some of this stuff down here in the bottom right. And then I skipped, stuff up there on the top right. And I think, yeah. So I did skip all that. I just mainly took a straight path down to, the 5-star because that's where all the good stuff is. You want those plus 20 stat points, for luck, power, speed, etc., because it's going to make the difference, especially end game. And then when you max out this tree down here, you can go back up to this tree up here and just start maxing stuff out. So let's say you rolled a 4 out of 5-star Lokido. You could max out this tree right here, but I wouldn't recommend it if you are pretty close to getting the stuff to get them to 5 stars. If it's going to be a long while to get them to 5 stars, then, go ahead and max it out. But, I just recommend saving your AP points so when you do get to this tree down here, you can just max it out right away. And as far as stat priority goes, it's just whatever you need at the time. I was finding myself endgame that I needed a lot of magic resistance, so I made sure I maxed out that stat resist, right away. Because I was getting my butt kicked by different resistances in the final area. And then, I did max out. For him, I did, hit up Spirit and the 20, the plus 20s first, and then I started maxing out Spirit and Intellect and stuff like that because I'm I don't know what increases magic resistance or whatnot. So I just did all that because I just needed as much resistance as possible, and it seemed to really help out quite a bit. And I did end up beating the game, even though he is more of like a power type hero. You know, it did, those little bit of bonuses did make a difference. So yeah, I mean, he is a really great hero. You know, I highly recommend him. Good luck getting one of those 5-star chicks next time. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.